Sister Marie first. Give me 1 second. Let me pull up the chat. Give me 1 second, everyone. Okay. So, to answer your question, Sister Marie asked this question. Um, Forgiving whenever you forgive someone, does that mean that you have to allow them back in your life as if nothing happened? Um, no, not exactly. Um, the Bible speaks of this verse right here. Give me 1 second while I pull up the verse. In Galatians 6, verse 1, Galatians 6, verse 1, this is what it says. Brothers and sisters, if someone is caught in a sin, you who live by the Spirit should restore that person gently. But watch yourselves, or you also may be tempted. This is not a verse I would use, but I want to use that last part where it says, be careful, because you could also be tempted. So if somebody offends you, and that, it really hurts you, depending on the gravity of the situation, you want to make sure that you deal with this correctly. Meaning, as a human, you're not going to forget. No one can truly forget um, certain things that happen. I would not suggest a person treat it as if, don't treat it too as if, okay, I'm not hurt. Some people, they get hurt, someone offends them, they're hurt, but they kind of repress the emotion. But by repressing your emotions, it's going to come back up. What you do is you deal with it right then and there. Um, you can let that person know they offend you. They offended you. In fact, you were supposed to go to that individual. I believe it's in Matthew 18 where it talks about if someone offends you, how you should go about that. Now, depending on the gravity of the situation, you do not have to allow this person to be back in your circle again. Meaning, you learned the lesson. You forgave them. Do your best to forgive. Ask the Lord to help you, to heal you, to heal your heart. You can reach out to that individual, let them know that this is what they did to you. Depending on the situation, it doesn't mean that you let that person in and they do the same thing over again. Because some people are repeated offenders; they'll do it again and again and again. Um, they won't ever stop doing that until God, does a work in them, or it changes their perspective. As a Christian, that is not a bad thing. You can still be cordial with that individual. You can still, um, you can say hi and bye. Don't hate them, but it's just depending on that situation, what they did. You don't want to repeat that again. But make sure that God is really working in you. You don't want to hate anyone. You don't want to despise that person. But you don't want that thing to keep happening over and over. That someone is hurting you, breaking your heart. It's like a man that keeps hurting, or keeps hurting the person that they're in a relationship with. They're doing everything, hurting them. I mean, at some point you want to stop that. Stop allowing that person to have that much access to you, to be able to hurt you again and again and again and again. Does that make sense?
Amen.
Does that answer your question, Sister Marie?
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much. I appreciate your answer. Because sometimes nous oublions que le monde, comme si, parce que nous sommes chrétiens, et donc, euh, nous n'avons pas donné, mais nous devons quitter tourner un doormat, quand nous sommes tapis, nous avons tourné, pilé, sans arrêter. Et donc, je juste voulais que vous pointez ça à route. Je m'apprécie ça, merci.
All right, amen, amen. No problem. Is there anyone else? I just realized there are two Sister Maries here.
Euh, Moi, c'est Marie-Carole. Donc,
Okay, okay.
Prochaine fois, m'a mettez Carole pour capable différencier.
No problem.
Mhm.
Anyone else with a question?
Hi, good night. I had a question. Well, me and Sister Marie, we
Go
had a
ahead.
question regarding the Bible, right? So last night I was going through the Bible, listening to it, and also scanning it myself.
Mhm.
And when it says in Genesis 1, verse 26, that it said, on the sixth day, God made human beings, right?
Yeah.
And then it says, then God said, let us make human beings in our image to be like us. They will reign over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, the livestock, all the wild animals on the earth, and the small animals that scurry along the ground. So God created human beings in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. And then God blessed them and said, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and govern it, reign over it, the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, and all the animals that scurry along the ground. Then God said, look, I have given you every seed bearing plant throughout the earth and all the fruit trees for your food. But, anyways, basically, what I'm saying is, in that passage on the sixth day, it said that he created humans. But then in Genesis 2nd, it says, so the creations of the heaven and the earth and everything in them was completed. So that means everything was already completed. And on the seventh day, God has finished his work of creation. So he rested. Now, after that, then he created Adam. So is Adam not the first person he created, or did he create people first and then he created Adam to watch over the Garden of Eden?
Very interesting question. Um, it is complex that I would have to call you guys to really talk about it, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to talk about it until I have the verses.
Okay.
Um, but yes, that's a very good question.
Mm-hmm.
So to answer your question, well, parts of it. So God did create mankind in his own image. There's been studies that yes, um, that there were humans before Adam or whatnot. But like I said, it's very complex. This question, there's so many parts, moving parts to it, and so many verses, to pretty much back up what I'm saying and history and all that stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
God created them, but God also breathed into man. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So in Genesis, the first chapter talks about God created them in His image, and Genesis 2, it talks about Adam and Eve. So meaning He created and formed them. So
Yeah.
yes,
He took dirt and he formed Adam to watch over everything, to cultivate the soil, um and water it and all the things that he needed to do.
yes, and it also said that the man He had formed. So meaning God had already formed Adam, and but He had to breathe life into Adam because Adam was not yet a living being until the breath of God came into Adam.
Mm-hmm.
So meaning, like I said, it's a lot. I understand what you're talking about. I've heard that question before,
Mm-hmm.
but like I said, I don't want to discuss it amongst everybody. I don't want to confuse anyone.
Right. Okay.
So definitely, I'll answer your question. Well, you and Sister Marie's question, I'll answer it at another time. But I'll get the verses for you guys and all that good stuff. Okay,
Okay. Thank you.
no problem. But is there any questions pertaining to today's Bible study?
Mm.
Okay, if there's no questions. Okay, so there's no more questions. So with all that being said, let's see. All right, let's do one final prayer.